Hello and welcome to Sandwich Seniority. I'm your host, Robbie Haig, and it's a pleasure to have you with us. I am interviewing two people from Elder Services here on the Cape, and our first person is Pat Hart, and with her is Paul Wild. And I'll start with Pat, and we'll have her give us a little background on yourself, Pat.
First of all, I just want to thank you very much for inviting us today to talk about our agency, and hope we can get out some information that will be valuable to your viewers.
Wonderful. It's my pleasure to have you here.
Thanks. I'm a Washashore. I had worked in the publishing industry in Boston area, and then moved down here to provide some support to my parents. Started taking some gerontology courses at 4Cs, became very interested in the field, actually did an internship at Elder Services, and I've been there for the last 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Worked in a variety of programs, and now currently Director of Community Services, one of our main divisions.
Oh, very good. I laugh at Washashore because it was a new comment to me. That means you haven't been born and brought up on the Cape.
Well, even after nearly 25 years here, I'm still a Washashore, but I love it as well.
Welcome to Sandwich Seniority, Pat.
Thank you.
And Paul, can you give us a little background on
Well, I can't
yourself?
remember the term. I'm not really a Washashore, but I'm also a secondary, not a born and bred here.
Okay.
My great-grandfather built a house on Bass River in 1903.
Wow.
And my family summered here ever since.
That's going back quite a ways. That's pretty good.
And my dad worked for General Electric, and we were moved around the country kind of like army brats every 2 or 3 years. But the consistent thing was Cape Cod. Every summer we would come from either Alabama or Virginia or Erie or Schenectady.
Wonderful?
And we'd come to Cape Cod and enjoy coffee, ice cream, and rotaries. And when I was young, the president lived here, so it was a pretty glamorous place.
Isn't that nice?
And
that's very
so
good. I've been told by other people that if you want to be assured of having your family together, have a summer home.
That's right.
Right.
People you don't
works.
even know look you up.
Yeah.
Haven't seen you in a long time. We're being down next week.
That's wonderful. Okay, so we're going to be talking about Elder Services, and if you could, you can join in. You don't have to wait for your turn. We can just talk about what Elder Services does for the Cape.
Well, it's always difficult to easily and quickly explain the scope of what we do because we do many different things. I think that there is an image in the community that, oh, we just help those frail, low-income elders. Certainly we provide services that target that population, but we do many more things as well. And I think as we taught today, find out not only do we support seniors in the community, but family members, caregivers, and we actually have programs that meet the needs of people of all ages. I think the Elder Services was incorporated in 1972, started a small grassroots organization, has grown tremendously, but I always say that I think we're still true to our original mission, and I'm going to glance away because I want to make sure I get this exactly right.
Of course.
Dedicated to promoting the welfare, enhancing the quality of life, and maintaining the dignity of elders in our community.
Right.
And certainly an overreaching goal is to provide the supports that are needed to help someone remain independent in their home and also give them opportunities to be active in the community and give back to the community.
Very good. Are you a state agency?
Well, no, we're actually a private nonprofit corporation.
Wonderful.
So we're kind of got 1 foot in the private sector and 1 foot in the public sector.
Good.
So our bosses are a board of directors who are all volunteers.
Oh.
And we have 2 designations. One is a federal designation, AAA, an Area Agency on Aging. And as Community Services Director, Pat is responsible for that federal designation and maintaining all the standards that the federal government wants us to have for seniors, access to information, access to protective services, access to nutrition. We deliver 825 meals a day.
Oh my
We
goodness.
run the Meals on Wheels program. Our true name is Elder Services of Cape Cod and the Islands. So we serve Barnstable, Dukes, and Nantucket counties, 22 towns. So
It's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. There's 80,000 elders in Barnstable County alone. It's one of the richest elder populations in the country. I think we're in the top 20 counties.
I think we're number 5. I think there's 3 in Florida, 1 in Arizona, and then Barnstable County.
Oh my goodness.
Which is just amazing.
Yeah.
And I've heard it called by town senior centers as the petri dish for elders, because Cape Cod elders are a little better educated. They, as a whole, are a little better off and healthier than most elders. But we have elders of every kind
and younger.
And yes, and we're actually at this point now serving 2 generations of elders, those in their 80s and those in their 60s.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
So what is the basis of elder services? What is the most important thing that you do? If someone said to you, give me a synopsis of elder services. I know they're all important.
Yeah. Well, I think of the top ones, I think nutrition, that Meals on Wheels program is pretty important. I think also elder protective services. We run the Elder Protective Services program, so any person who's mandated to report a suspicion of elder abuse or neglect or sexual or financial exploitation or self-neglect is mandated to maintain their license by reporting such suspicions to us. And our protective services people investigate and alleviate any problems with abuse or neglect or financial exploitation. So that's pretty important.
I would add to that the amount of information and referral services that we provide, not just about our internal programs, but other community resources, whether someone has a need for transportation, whether they're looking for assistance, say, with completing medical applications. There's what's known as the SHINE program, which is pretty much housed at the Councils on Aging. So we're referring people to the Councils on Aging for their supportive services. And then we also have, so you can call our information referral department to make a referral for one of our internal programs, but also whatever your other needs might be. We have a family caregiver support program, which is interesting because many of our programs are looking at what are the needs of the frail elder. And this program, what are the needs of the caregiver to allow them to continue in that role, because as you know, caregiving can just be exhausting physically and emotionally. And this provides that individual with the support and resources they need to continue in that role. And in that situation, you don't have to be 60 or older to access the services. It could be an adult daughter. It could be, you don't even have to live on the Cape. You could be out in California, have mom or dad here, be concerned about their well-being, and we can provide you with information and such. We even had one situation in the last year that there was a daughter living on a houseboat in a sea in China. She accessed our family caregiver support program, and we were able to give her mom the help that she needed.
Oh, well that leads me to how do you get people to how to access your information? I mean, it's
well, it's a good place to start. Generally, services for elders are kind of in different areas, and it's a little difficult without a roadmap to kind of navigate that. So I think you're going to be showing our telephone number. We're open every day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. to answer any question and get people started on what they need.
And why don't you give the telephone number now? Well,
the toll-free number is 1-800-244-4630. And the local number is area code 508-394-4630.
Okay.
And those numbers are monitored 24 hours a day, so even if someone calls us after hours, we have an answering service, and we have people who carry beepers who can respond to a need of concern or an emergency that happens in the off hours.
Excellent.
And you were talking about the more important parts of elder services, as we're kind of indicating it's a big organization with lots of different
as you're
programs.
Speaking, I'm thinking you're the backbone.
Well,
Because you delegate to other groups and other people.
and we
So
try
we
to
work in a
coordinate.
collaborative way with many other organizations. So if we don't have exactly what a caller needs, we may be able to find them another service. And because we work with so many other service partners, we can make the call on that person's behalf and such.
Very good.
So,
Town senior centers, Cape Cod Healthcare, the BNA.
And I want to make sure that your viewers also understand what a robust program we have of volunteers. We could not provide the services that we do to the community without our volunteers. And remarkably, we have almost 1,500 volunteers.
Oh my goodness.
Either delivering Meals on Wheels,
Wow.
working as money managers, working as ombudsmen in long-term care facilities. And then our Senior Service Corps matches volunteers with other community groups. We have a group of volunteers. This is a good example of how we reach out to all ages. We have a group called the 3 R's, which provides tutoring and mentoring for school-age children in elementary and middle schools throughout the Cape now.
Very good.
So that program is growing tremendously.
Excellent.
So I would encourage people, certainly give us a call, but also visit our website. It doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles, but is got all the information that you need, and there's various avenues when you get into the website to get the information that you need. And that's available, obviously, 24 hours a day. We're seeing more and more individuals accessing that to find out the basic information and then give us a call about specifics.
And if you'd like to say the website, that would
It's
be...
www.escci.org.
Wonderful.
So I talked about the federal designation. The other designation that elder services have is the state designation.
Okay.
It's called an ASAP, Aging Service Access Point. So as far as the state is concerned, the state funds what we call the home care program. And that actually provides services for low and moderate income elders in their own home, designed to keep them at home as long as they want to and out of a nursing home. Most people would rather age in place in their own house, and it's a lot cheaper.
And it's healthier for them to be around familiar surroundings.
Exactly. So people live longer and live with a higher quality of life if they have supportive services in the home.
Right.
So we have around 18 care managers who each have a caseload of, maybe over 100 elders that they see 4 times a year. And these elders get weekly services, support of what we call custodial care, housekeeping, shopping, laundry, meal preparation, little hands-on personal care with help with the bathing or grooming. And many people can live perfectly well and very safely with just a little supportive services. And the cost is less than $500 a month versus a nursing home, which would be $5,000 a month.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
So we have
difference.
probably 3,000 or 4,000 elders here on Cape Cod that get services every week from our valued provider network. We don't provide the services ourselves. We provide the care management, the oversight, but we purchase the services from our provider agencies. Laundry services, grocery shopping services, homemaking services, daycare services. Many elders go to daycare so their caregivers can have a respite during the day.
You mentioned mandated reporting.
Right, for
on-
protective.
For protective. And I'm sure that the people that you have working with these elders are also overseen and trained and
Yes, the Executive Office of Elder Affairs makes sure that every one of these aging service access points is very carefully monitored. We're work within their rules and regulations, and there's a lot of cross checks and balances to make sure people are protected.
Very good.
And it's nice.
Extensive ongoing training
Yeah.
of staff in how to deal with various situations, learning new resources and services. So it's an ongoing education of our staff as well.
And the longer you live, the more likely you are to run into other special situations. We have elders who have lived long enough, so they may be coping with more than one chronic condition.
Sure.
That's very difficult. So we're there to help people with managing their medications, managing their medical appointments.
Okay.
We also run into people who have had struggled all their lives, but with mental health or developmental delay problems.
Oh, so you
But they
deal
become
with,
more significant as they get
okay,
older.
you deal with people aging with mental health and
And just like everywhere else, there are substance abuse problems.
Sure.
Elders have a tendency to have many, many medications, and they may have a medication mismanagement problem, not because they're bad people, but because it can get confusing and complicated.
sure.
There's a lot of stress and depression associated with aging. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way.
Right.
We work very hard to make sure people aren't in clinical depression, because it's not necessarily a part of aging. It's frequently encountered, but it doesn't mean that there's not ways that you could address that.
Sure.
Talk therapy, medication, support services.
Sure. And elders and isolation kind of sort of go
Elders
hand
in isolation. And as Pat indicated, there's a lot of stress and exhaustion with being a caregiver.
Yes.
So some of our caregivers are the spouses of someone with dementia. Some caregivers, as Pat indicated, may be distant and remote, and the son in Chicago worries about the mother in Harwich.
Sure.
One of the features of the Family Caregiver Program, they actually offer some support groups throughout the community. And one of the, very proud of, they were able this year to start a men's-only support group of caregivers.
Oh, how nice.
Finding that, that though they had attended the mixed groups, they may not have been as comfortable sharing.
Right.
So with the men's only, they tend to open up a bit more about guys' issues.
Very
And
good.
it's been, it has been very successful. We look to expand that
Excellent.
as well.
We're very proud of that, because this is, it's been called the greatest generation. It's very charming that elders are resistant to ask others for help. It's very Cape Cod, very New England. I'm going to see myself through. I'm going to lift myself up by the bootstraps. I'm going to not be dependent on anyone else.
Because they're used to doing that.
And
they're used to taking
that's
care
very
of themselves.
laudable. I mean, we
Right.
wouldn't want people to stop that. But
Right.
there does come a point where it's really better and healthier to accept a little help and still maintain your own dignity.
Right.
The people who resist it completely, totally, are the ones that get themselves in trouble the first.
Right.
And I think that oftentimes, as you said, people are very reluctant to accept help. But if you accept some, then you're still in charge. You're saying, yes, I will take this, I will take
Right.
this, and I'm not quite ready for that.
Right.
But you want to be aware of what sort of supports are available to you, because then if you get to that crisis state, then your choices are limited, and oftentimes it's somebody else that's making the decisions for you.
Right.
So that's why I encourage people, you know, we're just inundated, everybody is inundated with information. And you don't think about, well, I don't want to learn about this yet because I don't need it yet, but I really encourage people to take a look at what we have to offer. Just sort of have that in the back of your mind so that's available to you.
It's
when the
kind of
time
like a
comes.
foot in the door.
Yeah,
You know,
Exactly.
you deal with a small portion, and then when you need something more,
Right.
there are people there who can
All
recognize.
all of our programs and services are really based on the premise that an elder has a right to self-determination.
Wonderful.
Meaning they are the one in charge until they demonstrate that they have really lost the capacity to do that.
Right.
And a lot of times that means that we may be supporting people who are making choices and decisions that we don't think is in their best interest.
Right.
But that's their lifestyle.
That's their life.
And they have the right to live it as they
And
wish.
I think it's important for elders out there to know this, that they are in control.
Right.
And sometimes I'd like to bring up too that if they've been to the hospital and they are not totally in control of what's going on with them, that can change. They don't have to be taken care of from this point on.
Exactly.
They can go back to where they were when everything becomes normal.
And this is why elder services with one foot in the private sector and one foot in the public sector is good to be able to be in place to respond to these special needs. And rather than being a state agency or a bureaucracy,
Right.
we have more flexibility. We're more interested in meeting the satisfaction of our customers. We're more responsive to the changing needs of elders. A state agency would probably run the same way all the time.
Right.
We're seeing things change because the life of elders are changing.
Right.
And we're able, because of this flexibility, to maintain the changes with them.
Very good. The eligibility guidelines, because you had mentioned that it costs like $500 a month as
It
opposed.
gets a little confusing because
Okay.
different programs have different guidelines. For example, Paul talked about home care.
Right.
There has to be some critical unmet needs, such as the need for shopping, personal care, and such. But they also do look at an individual's income. And based on what your income, there may be, there's a sliding fee scale.
Okay.
So if your income is very low, you may not have any copay, but it may be, if higher incomes, there may be a copay. Nutrition, Meals on Wheels, there is no means testing for that.
Okay.
So it's just a matter of someone being 60 and older, saying that they're unable to prepare a meal, and we don't look at income guidelines there. We certainly welcome any contributions because it is a large program, runs continually at a deficit. So any support we can get,
Sure.
we're happy for that. What I would encourage people is to, again, if you're interested in one of our programs, call, ask for information and referral, and they will walk you through the specific guidelines, be it income, be needs assessment, something of that sort. Just throwing out some other programs. I didn't mention the money management program. That's another wonderful support. We're talking about elders being reluctant to turn over responsibilities to others. Well, one thing, very reluctant is to talk about their financial situation, but our money managers can actually help somebody maintain a budget, pay their bills on time, and actually keep them in their home longer in that way. But that's a program where there's no fee for it. There are some income guidelines. So it really varies. We have a job training program that's for people 55 and older. So as I said, it can be a little confusing, but just let us know what you're interested in, and we will get you the information that you need.
That's right. The information department can answer your questions. So you should call us whether you think you're eligible or you think
Exactly.
you're not eligible.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Because if you're eligible under our program, we can help you there. If you're not, we can give you the other alternatives.
Right,
So
exactly.
Wonderful.
it doesn't make it, it's one-stop shopping.
Very good.
So-
That's wonderful. So you have a Shine volunteer who works with people?
We, the Executive Office of Elder Affairs that funds us, and
Yeah.
the Town Senior Centers, the Council on Aging, also funds the Shine program.
Right.
So we can tell you where your local Shine volunteer is, and we can probably also arrange for the Shine volunteer to come to your house if you're homebound.
Very good.
Most Shine volunteers would prefer you to come to the Senior Center.
Sure.
And schedule an appointment because Medicare and Medigap and insurance questions can be complicated and take a while.
Sure. So, is there any one specific area you would like to leave us with? I know, there's just so much here.
It's very difficult to sum up. I've been talking with people. They say that every agency, organization, they need what's called an elevator message. That you get in the elevator with somebody, and by the time you get to the 10th floor, they should be able to understand what your agency does. I haven't perfected that yet. I don't think anybody in the agency has, because we do such a wide variety of things.
Right.
But again, all I can do is encourage people to get to know us. I'm always available, Paul's available to go out and talk with community groups. We welcome any opportunity like that.
Good.
We go to a lot of health and benefit fairs with our information. We have a little road show that we pack up and take. Any opportunity that we can have to talk with the public about all we do, answer their questions, steer them to the help they need, we welcome those sort of opportunities.
Very good.
There's a car company that says shop us last. I would say call us first.
Right.
So if you have a question, we have people who are paid just to answer your question.
Wonderful.
So all you have to do is call us and we'll start your journey down that information road.
Excellent. Well, I'm so pleased that you both decided to come here first and get the information out to the people in our community here in Sandwich.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It sounds like we could talk for a great deal longer than a half hour.
We sure could.
And, but it's getting the toe in the door.
That's right.
And I appreciate that. And thanks to you people out there who have been watching. If you have any topics that you would like discussed on Sandwich Seniority, please notify our studio here. And we would be more than happy to have a program entirely for you. Thank you again. This is Robbie Haig, your host, saying good day. And thank you for being here. We hope to see you again real soon.